This is a Liberty Crack Media Special.
Well, welcome to a special edition, and I just wanted to welcome my good friend, my new good friend, Avens O'Brien, and she is here with Zoom and is it PLUR? That
PLUR.
PLUR, okay, and because they have smiley faces for the U, and I'm German, so I keep thinking they're umlauts. So anyway,
it's definitely like an intentional kind of winky face at that. If that makes sense.
And I just have to say, these are really incredible natural products, and you don't have to be a chemist to understand them. You just have to. I guess my thing is, in those who listen to my Liberty on Nicotine cigar podcast know that I'm really into lifestyle enjoyment and enjoying the moment with the product. And these are absolute enjoy the moment products that they can come out with. And I just want to start out by asking, how did, I guess, what was the progress? How did this start out, your company start out? Was it just with growing things and then just went on to it?
Sort of, yeah. There was an interesting evolution, and I'm going to also I'll in a few minutes I'll extrapolate a little bit on what you had termed natural, because like natural is not quite what I would use to describe this, but
chemical.
But I will
natural chemical.
So just because I don't want people to be like misinformed, so I like to make sure that people are really clear on what this is. But let's say, so what we started with is, so I mean, I've been a psychonaut and someone very interested in plant medicine, and also just like straight up like taking LSD and things like that. I've been interested in the psychedelic journey for 20 years. You know, so this is something that I've loved. And then my partner Judd, he is both my partner in like life and in love and in our work together.
Awesome.
He's also an enthusiast of psychedelics. And so we were both very enthusiastic about psychedelics in general. When we met, it was one of our bonding experiences, that and libertarianism. And we so we were already deeply in that, and we live in California, so we had been in the cannabis space, and actually that was just kind of for lack of a better term, a shit show, because the way that cannabis regulation in California kind of turned out, it was really destructive to the industry. Yeah. And so, we love cannabis, and but we were just kind of like, we need to pivot out of this because it's just it's an overly regulated market with overly taxed market. And it's just not it's not a place to create a sustainable business and get people what we would like them to enjoy. And so, really like the birth of this company really came about with as we kind of pivoted away from that. We got very into magic mushrooms, especially in 2020. Basically, there was a bunch of people who were just at home quite a bit. You might remember there was a bit of time where everybody just had nothing to do, kind of had nothing to do. And a lot of my friends were making sourdough starter, and I was like, I know how to grow mushrooms, but I'd like to get really good at it. So I will say that definitely was an influence. And then in 2021, we basically decided, we were like, you know what, we're going to pivot out of cannabis entirely. We're going to pivot into the magical world of mushrooms. And one of the things that we were interested in doing is, I can't legally grow magic mushrooms and sell them. I can't do that. Like, that's not federally allowed, and that's not, there's very few states in which that's allowed, or very few like municipalities where that's allowed. However, what we did is we were learning how to kind of scale growing to the point where what we could do is we could sell mushroom grow bags and liquid culture. And so liquid culture it's not spores. Spores are like a seed of a mushroom. Liquid culture is kind of like the embryo of a mushroom. It's an early stage mycelium that it speeds up your growth. But it's not quite as hardy as spores. anyway, the point was that we produced liquid culture, we produced grow bags, and then what we did is we just tried to scale that and market that in such a way that we could make it, our tagline was radically simple. We wanted to make it radically simple to grow your own magic mushrooms. And we basically, like, we looked at our experience over a couple of years, like, growing them to kind of say, this isn't a radically simple experience, so how do we make it radically simple? And so basically the birth of our company started with, how do we make this experience radically simple for others so that they can grow their own medicine, they can grow their own recreation, they can grow their own magic, whatever they want to do with it, right? And so we sold grow bags, which were, soil and grain and the optimized nutrients for Psilocybe cubensis mushrooms. We sold that as like a sterilized, vacuum sealed, store friendly product with a long shelf life. Yeah. And then we sold that, and the product itself. So the company is called Advanced Mycology, and the product was Shroom, SHRU with the little dots above it, M. So the idea was like, this is Shroom, and so this is how this all started. Is we were selling grow bags, we were selling liquid culture. We started selling these to smoke shops and to head shops and to hydro shops that sell cannabis growing materials, and we started selling this in a lot of like miscellaneous places and having a little online following, and so that was going well for a couple of years. We're selling grow bags, we're selling liquid culture, because neither of those two things are illegal. And then once you combine it, once you inject liquid culture into a grow bag, you may or may not be in violation of your local laws, depending on how your laws are written. In some places, it's actually perfectly legal to have them growing on your property. It's when you pick them that they become illegal, or when you intend to consume them that they become illegal. But like this is just how local law, and then the federal law is like, that happens bad. Like, so the federal law like treats psilocybin like this terrible thing, which is wild. But anyway, so we were doing that for years, and then in we had a couple of we had a smaller version of the same product that came out in 2024, and then in 2024, one of the things that we did is we did a partnership with Mike Tyson. And so I taught basically, right? So I taught Mike Tyson how to grow mushrooms using our grow bags. And Awesome. It was really fun. We got to like film this. It was a really cool experience. And
he didn't knock you out.
Right. Yeah, he was very happy with the mushrooms. Yeah. And so we grew mushrooms together, and then I gave him the mushrooms that he grew, and he ate them in front of me, which was wild. Quite the experience.
I love it.
And so anyway, so we were doing that through 2024, and then what happened basically is, we definitely saw in 24 and 2025, we were starting to see, especially towards the end of 2024, we were seeing an influx of consumable products in the marketplace. And these are consumable products that called themselves magic mushroom gummies or magic mushroom, whatevers, magic mushroom chocolates. And what's really interesting is that there wasn't clarity in the marketplace about what they were. Yeah. Was this mushrooms? Was this some kind of analog of mushrooms? Well, like what was this? And so we basically started buying these products and trying them and kind of going, yeah, I think this one actually is mushrooms. And we started like sending things out for test results. We started trying to communicate with the brand owners and discover what these things were. And what we found is that there was already this marketplace of analog compounds, and there's a compound that was called 4-ACO-DMT, which was basically in 2024, basically in 2024, that was like the thing that was in all those magic mushroom products. And the thing that's interesting about 4-ACO-DMT is it's a synthetic analog of psilocybin, and it actually when it breaks down in your body. So when you consume it, when it's 4-ACO-DMT, it's not technically an illegal substance. But when you eat it, when you swallow it and it processes by your liver, the active metabolite is 4-HO-DMT, which is psilocin, which is the active metabolite in psilocybin. So basically it's like a different pathway to get the psilocybin. And so what happened is there were a bunch of brands. They were selling these chocolates and gummies and things like that containing this substance that wasn't strictly illegal. But once the substance degraded, either on the store shelves or in a consumer's hands or in a police officer's hands, it could test positive for something that is federally scheduled. Mm-hmm. And so we watched this kind of market blow up really quickly. And then we also saw it kind of collapse because people were like, oh, we can't sell this, it's illegal. And so then what happened is a number of laboratories in the country started trying to make other analogs that did not have that same issue of becoming an illegal substance. Which is specifically psilocin, which is 4-HO-DMT. And so basically there were a number of labs doing that. We were talking to them, like we were friendly with them. And a lot of those laboratories, what they were doing is they were saying, well, we're going to, come up with another compound. We're going to utilize a different compound. And when we sell it, we're not going to tell people what it is so that they can't get in trouble for it. So we don't have any like weird legal repercussions. Which I and my partner Judd were like, that's not okay. Like, you have to tell people what they're consuming. Especially because one, it's not illegal, but secondly, because like people have a right to know what they're consuming. If they think they're consuming organic mushrooms and it's not mushrooms, they should know. And if it's and also like if they consume it and let's say they have a bad reaction and they need to go to the hospital, it's not okay for them to not know what they've consumed, because a medical professional needs to be able to understand what's going on in someone's body. And so with that, we kind of watched this kind of industry doing this thing where they were like, hey, consumable products, we're going to keep calling them magic mushroom products, but we're not going to explicitly tell people what they are. And we were like, that's not okay. Like, we're going to do what we're going to show people the right way, which is what I think Judd and I have a strong kind of compass in our own lives about how we choose to do things, which is like, I want to tell people, hey, you should do this, you should do this. But then I just stop telling them and I just show them. I just do the thing the way I want it done. And I prove it. I prove that this is the best way to do it. And so, that's been Judd's philosophy. That's been mine. And so what we did is we started putting together some great chemists, putting together a laboratory to produce 4-HO-MET, which was our preferred version of a psilocybin analog. Mm-hmm. And so 4-HO-MET is very, very, very structurally similar to psilocin or 4-HO-DMT. Mm-hmm. And 4-HO-MET, or we call it Metocin, it was actually developed in the 1970s because there was a famous chemist named Sasha Shulgin, whom we have to thank for the resurgence of MDMA, for the development of 2CB, and for a number of other compounds. But Sasha Shulgin in the 70s produced a number of synthetic analogs of psilocybin and them. And so we read through his book. We went, what? I think we can make this. We had a chemist make this. And we said, this is what we're going to do. And then the other thing we're going to do is we're going to tell people what it is. We're not going to hide behind euphemisms. We're not going to hide behind, claiming that it's something that it's not. We're going to explicitly put that on the packaging. We're going to explicitly tell people what to expect. And we're not going to even pretend that it's not for human consumption. We are going to say, you take this much to feel this. And so so that's how we came out with our first product. So our first product is Zoom, XUM. Mm-hmm. And as you can, and so if you understand, the shroom, if you look at our shroom logo, it has the U with the 2 dots. It's a smiley face because we figured shrooms make you giggle and smile. And then Zoom is in the same style, XUM, the U is a smiley face. So it's kind of like our branding is this smiley face to kind of remind people that this is supposed to be a positive thing. This is supposed to be a fun, playful, approachable, enjoyable thing. Mm-hmm. And then so then we released, so Zoom came out in April of last year, and we were the first product out there to say explicitly, we are Metocin, we are 4-HO-MET. Here are the lab results proving its purity. Here are the lab results proving that that's the only thing in our product. And so, we got to know laboratory, testing, third-party testing labs, and we actually, sent them our stuff and had them send their results, and we published those results. And so we released that so that's basically the journey of how that all came about, is like we went from growing, and we still do have grow bags and liquid culture, but then we moved into Zoom or Metocin. And that was kind of our journey there, because we realized, our goal at the end of the day, like we said that, with shroom, we said like growing shrooms now radically simple. But, ultimately our mission as a company is to make meaningful experiences more accessible. And, for a while, right?
Yeah.
Right. Like that's how we say it. So it's like we want to make meaningful experiences more accessible. And so for a few years, that was, here's the meaningful experience of growing your own mushrooms and being able to like grow it from, mycelium all the way to the mushroom that you consume, and where it came from, and that it's good, and you get to have that experience. And now with Metocin, you're able to have what is physically very, very, very similar to a psilocybin mushroom trip.
Mm-hmm.
There are some slight differences in the experience. It tends to be a bit more lucid. It's more bioavailable, so it kicks in faster. It tends to have less indication, like less nausea and body load.
Yeah.
But these sorts of things these are just kind of minor little improvements that happen when you're like dealing with something on a chemical level, instead of dealing with the entourage effect of mushroom material and chitin and all these other things. But that's basically like how that all kind of came about, is like we're making meaningful experiences more accessible. Mm-hmm. And to do so, we have this product, Metocin, now, which makes it very easy to get that experience that is very similar to mushrooms, that will bring you that openness and that love and that joy and that trip and that visual, all the things that you're expecting from mushrooms, but in a really simple. We sell them in like tablets or soft gels. Yeah. And when you have that experience, you just then it's clearly defined. It's clear. It's consistent dosage. It's testable dosage. It's explicitly stated as to what it is, and then it's easy to share with your friends and not be ashamed of it or afraid of it or worry that, hey, is this batch going to be as good as the last batch? Because it always is.
Oh, awesome. And what I really, really like about zoomtrip.com, XUMtrip.com, is that it is such a good website as far as it walks people through the, if this is going to be your first experience, you can get a starter pack, and then with that starter pack, you can see that you can test it out. Just one tab to be light, two for moderate, 3 to elevate, 4 for trippy. Yeah, and yep. I think that's marvelous, because there are so many people that are absolutely terrified that they because again, they think of the Hollywood movie rendition of the experience of being on a psychedelic is going into Willy Wonka's factory. It's
right,
and it really quite is not it. The trip is between your own two eyes, or between your own two ears and behind your eyes. But it is very good. And the other thing too is that these things that work with our body chemistry and our minds may be, and I'm not telling our listeners that it is the answer, but there's a Marine Corps combat veteran named Matt Metzger who introduced the idea of microdosing for Marines, well, anybody that had post-traumatic stress disorder. And because they have been absolutely ruining some of our veterans with all these other medications that they're throwing at them, and I just hope that even if somebody's out there that they're struggling and stuff, maybe it's not for everybody, but maybe this is something that if you're looking at, you might want to just dip your toe into and see if it helps you out. Anyway, Anyway, these are really cool. And now you have, not only do you have the Zoom, you also have, and you're saying PLUR?
PLUR. Yep.
PLUR. Okay. And it's Beyond Molly. And, and of course I am Generation Jones, which is people mistakenly think of me as a
Between
Zoomer.
The boomers and the X.
Yeah, and so we definitely knew the shrooms, but it was Molly was much after our time. So
right.
We didn't have that experience. So what would you say is the difference for people that want the two products in
Yeah, well, the thing is, and here's the thing. I'm going to compare shrooms and Molly because, experientially, we're talking about like compounds that are so similar to those things that, like, it's easier to kind of compare like what shrooms and what Molly are like, and then like Zoom and PLUR are these analogs for this. But shrooms in general, and you have this experience, but shrooms in general, what I find really interesting about shrooms is that shrooms and Metocin and tryptamines in general have a tendency to they basically take down our filters, which MDMA also does, but that's gonna be a separate thing. So Zoom and shrooms and things like that tend to kind of take down our filters. And they take down our filters in the way that we sort information in this world. Because if you really think about, when you're born and you just you're a baby and you experience the world, you're a child, you experience the world, and you don't know what's important or what's not, right? So everything just kind of comes at you. And as you grow as a human being, you start to go, okay, I don't need to pay attention to these various stimuli in my environment. And you start to filter out things so that you can be a productive member of society, and you do your homework, or you do your job, or you do your whatever responsibilities you have.
Right.
You filter out the rest of the world, and this is one way that is very necessary for us to be functional in the world. But the thing is that as they there's lots of jokes about you need to stop and smell the roses. And what psilocybin tends to do, what shrooms tend to do, what Zoom tends to do, is it kind of takes down that little filter where you just you go, hey, no, I got to focus on my work. I got to focus on my responsibilities. And it takes down that little filter. So you stop and smell the roses. And I mean that literally and kind of, and metaphorically, is that you just find yourself suddenly okay, my pupils are dilating, a little bit more light is coming into my eyes, and I am feeling more aware of everything around me. I'm aware of the breeze on my skin. I'm aware of things around me that I normally do, the way that the carpet is soft, the way that, this around me is, the people around me. I actually care, I'm not filtering them out as much. I want to hear what they have to say. I want to listen, and I want to speak. And what happens with psilocybin and with products like this on Zoom is people your filter comes away, and you return to a more childlike state. And this is usually in your moderate to higher doses. In lower doses, we just find that we find this happens in tiny amounts in ways that tend to help people actually focus and help people with there's definitely an application for this in very small, what we call microdoses. That is not quite as present as what I'm describing here. But when you take 1, 2, 3, 4 and up of these doses, you find yourself kind of in this somewhat childlike state where you just become more appreciative of what's kind of going on around you. And it can be a really good space in which you find that you kind of you can process stuff. And you can so a lot of people find that if they take higher doses, they'll find themselves kind of in an emotional space of wanting to process hurt feelings or traumas or things like that. And they can be kind of scary because people will sometimes they'll take a very large dose and they'll find themselves recalling a trauma that they've been kind of filtering out of their heads. And then they're like, oh shit, I'm dealing with this thing. And that can be a hard experience this is higher doses. Yeah. But then what people find is this healing experience of they get through it. They go, oh, I'm thinking about it. I'm processing it, and now I'm actually processing it, and now I've left it behind me. Yeah. And so that's what's so valuable especially at larger doses or moderate doses of tryptamine specifically, is it typically reverts you to a childlike state, but kind of almost like a pre wounded state, if you will. And so it gives you kind of this place in which you can handle, either processing traumas and harm and things, or just processing like just life in a different way, kind of like giving yourself an extra, like a new way to kind of perceive things. So your neural pathways are not just going in their normal direction. Yeah. And it can give people a lot of creative focus, a lot of productive, like it kind of changes your perspective, and it can get you out of a rut. It can help you in these various like kind of like cerebral ways, but also emotional ways.
Right.
So that right there is just shrooms. And then we have Molly, but I just talked a lot. So like,
take a breath.
Yeah. So take a breath, take a sip of my water.
There you are. Yeah, because I was going to say, and I'm just going to give you a little break from talking for a little bit. If people want to know more about like these chemicals and the experiences and stuff, they can go into what I call the catacombs of Vice, and there's a show called Hamilton's Pharmacopoeia Pharmacopoeia, and it is a fantastic show. It really is. I absolutely loved it. And Hamilton Morris, who's the man that was behind this, the executive producer, and he actually was the one that was going through all these things, but he also has all the degrees and everything else that goes with it. So if anybody is tentative,
Hamilton's great. We know him.
Yeah. Oh, you do? Oh my God. Yeah. This is, okay. Is there anybody you don't know? I mean, this is incredible. Yeah. Avens, you've got the who's who.
Hamilton's wonderful. We actually, Judd was on Hamilton's podcast. Actually, you can go check that out. So he has a podcast, and Judd was on it. So
oh my gosh, okay.
You can actually find it. There's a long conversation about John McAfee on that podcast, but that's but they do get into it. They talk about the lab quite a bit. So, but anyway, so Hamilton's amazing, and he's really gone. I love what he did with Vice. Like he really kind of deep dives into these things, and he takes those things on camera. Like he's like, I'm going to learn about this substance, and now I'm going to take it on camera, and I'm going to be really real about what the experience is like, and I'm going to, I want to visit the indigenous village where this thing came from. Yeah, he's great. Anyway, so Molly or MDMA, or ecstasy. These are terms to describe this thing. It was very popular in the 80s and 90s. And so MDMA is the original compound that people are familiar with. And in the 80s and stuff, there was a lot of MDMA that was cut with which was cut with stimulants, and so that's what we typically consider it to be ecstasy, which is so you'd have this MDMA experience combined. Sorry, my Alexa has decided to talk in the background. I apologize. So MDMA would be often cut with a stimulant, and it would cause people to go dancing and hugging and loving and just having a great time. Yeah. And so that's what we commonly know as ecstasy. And then especially in like the 90s and 2000s, people started wanting this to not be cut with other things. And so we often refer to MDMA when it's pure, and this is just like literally in kind of the underground drug culture, is we typically refer to Molly as like the form of MDMA that was purest. And it also didn't mean anything, because when you, at the end of the day, like when you get something from some guy in a backpack at a rave, you're like, is this pure? Like, yeah, it's totally pure. And like, it's not like you have any way of knowing that. Yeah. But people would typically say like MDMA was going to be less overstimulating Molly, that Molly would be that less overstimulating MDMA. And so that was kind of like what was out there. And so 5-MePP was developed as an analog. It has slightly different chemical responses in your brain. So what MDMA does, to be like fully clear, is when MDMA it gets into your body, it's a serotonin releaser. And so what it's going to do is like your neurons store serotonin in your body, and what your body uses serotonin for is it uses it for your mood, for your appetite, and for your circadian rhythm. And so basically your sleep, your hunger, and your mood, or your like just your that general, like those three things are what are basically controlled by the amount of serotonin you have, which is why people sometimes when they have depression and they have like a lack of serotonin will find it hard to sleep, or they will sleep too much, or they can't eat, or they're sad, right? These things are interconnected and people don't realize.
Yeah.
But then what'll happen is, so our neurons store serotonin, and normally in our bodies and our lives, our neurons are always gently leaking out a little bit of serotonin, and that causes us to regulate our circadian rhythm and our hunger and our mood. And so what happens is when you take MDMA, basically that reservoir of serotonin that gently leaks out all the time is instead like the dam is open and all of the serotonin floods out at once. And what that causes in your body is this overwhelming feel of joy, this overwhelming feel of empathy and connection and love. And it feels fucking amazing. And you feel it roll over your body, which is why people call they call Molly, they call it rolling. Like instead of tripping like you want a tryptamine, you roll on this. And so you feel these like waves of pleasure come over your body. And then what you have is basically a 4-hour window in which your body is like, oh, I've got all this serotonin, I feel so connected. And so in that time, you typically will find that it's a very tactical, very tactile drug. So you basically feel very like tactilely stimulated. You want to touch things, you want to hug things, you want to feel things. This is soft, this is cushy, this is, you're the people around you, you want to touch and connect with them. And so you get this kind of overwhelming feeling of love and connection and empathy with people around you, both through physical touch and through just the feeling the hearts towards them. It's really, really, really overwhelming joy. And then what we find is that people, when they take MDMA, there's a couple of things that happen is that, you're feeling this overwhelming joy. You're feeling this overwhelming love towards other people. It's kind of contagious. So like I can be sober with people on Molly, and you just start grinning next to those people because they're so, and so like, oh, I just want to tell you how much I love you, or I just want to hug you. And you're just like, wow, I feel what you're feeling. Like, I get it. Like I get a little contact high from that. And what's really interesting is what this does on another level for people is it allows people to connect and talk, right? And so a lot of people can do talk therapy on this. MDMA was originally used as a marriage counseling drug, because you could give it to two people who are having marital disputes, and it brings you to a place of like you're vulnerable, you're not defensive, and you're acting out of love, and you can say like, I love you, but this hurts, or I love you, but I'm struggling here. And you get to this place where you feel so much love that you don't feel like you're being attacked as you talk through your hurt or your feelings or your whatever. And you also are putting people into this space where you're like, I know that you mean the best, even though, something you said hurt me, or something you did, made me feel a particular way. And so it allows people to like really bond and connect. And it's also really valuable because when you're on MDMA, it's also very hard to imagine bad things. It's really hard to, this is the thing that's been really interesting, is that they're looking at MDMA as a solution for PTSD for people like soldiers in war, because to be able to talk through it while they have this flood of love is enabling them to basically put up a barrier between, you know, reliving that experience. Like when you take shrooms, the filter's gone in a way that like might make that experience more there. It might make it more present. It might make it more raw, and you might be like in your head remembering the sounds and the experiences you were having. Whereas with MDMA, you can't touch them.
Yeah.
And so you can't touch that hurt. And as a result, you're not overwhelmed by it, and you can talk through it, and you can get to a healthier place from it in a really, really valuable way. And so that's what's really cool, is like that medical application. But the fact is that for human beings taking these drugs, like when you take MDMA, you're getting this kind of, it's a different thing. We call it an empathogen, because you just feel this empathy and this love for yourself, for everyone around you. And I mean, it's literally like, it's my favorite feeling in the world. And it's just like, it's such it's a pleasurable feeling.
Yeah.
And then you come away from it with this kind of glow of like, okay, now I need to like think about like those things that I you know, I said I loved, or the things that like the way that I pulled from this pool of love that I didn't know I had, and it was like overflowing, and I was sharing it with everyone around me. You know, I was feeling all this love and I wanted to give it to everyone around me. Like, how do I remember that? How do I do that when I'm not in that state?
Yeah.
And it's really like, it can be a really beautiful, incredible, life-changing experience for people. And so that's MDMA, and then 5-MAPB is the compound that we use, and it's virtually indistinguishable in experience.
Yeah.
The only difference is that chemically, as it does serotonin releasing, it also provides an agonizer for serotonin, which allows your body to recoup serotonin faster.
Oh.
Because the one downside of MDMA that people will sometimes experience is what we used to call it like the Tuesday blues, which is that like you take ecstasy all weekend, and then the next couple of days you're feeling drained because your serotonin is gone, and your body's going, what the fuck? I need to eat, I need to sleep, and I need to not be sad.
Yeah.
And where's all my serotonin? Mm-hmm. And so that's the one downside of MDMA, is that you can have a couple of days where your body's recouping serotonin and it doesn't have enough and you're feeling really down. And 5-MAPB has a function in it. There's a serotonin agonist in it, which allows your body to kind of use, instead of using all your serotonin up, it's also treating the 5-MAPB like serotonin, and as a result, you don't use up all your serotonin, so your come down and your recoup is faster because you've still got some left.
Awesome. Now, this brings me to my question about one of your other products. It is the flipped soft gel. Tell me about that.
So what we did with Flip is so there's a common thing in like rave community and like and psychedelic community in general, which is we call these flips is so like a candy flip is considered LSD and MDMA together.
Okay.
And then a hippie flip is considered shrooms and MDMA together. And so there's all these different, I think 2CB and MDMA together is called a Nixus flip. There's like a bunch of different terms for these things. But the idea is that by taking your trip and your roll together, you get this really interesting experience of both things. And so the flip is, it's 100 milligrams of 5-MAPB, which is enough to basically produce the that is like enough to get you to your proper roll state, where you're like, okay, I am rolling, I am feeling these overwhelming feelings of pleasure. And then the amount of Metocin in it is equivalent to 4 of our tablets, which is equivalent to 2 grams of shrooms. And so this is not like I'm going to an intense like talk to God trip like level. It's more of it's like not transcendent, but it is enough that you will have like fractal visuals. You will have these kinds of things that are more in the trip space instead of just in the roll space. And so combining the two, I find that it tends to make the roll a little bit like more like it gives it a cerebralness that I feel like sometimes Molly can just be like, I just love everything, and sometimes you're not thinking, like you are thinking about a lot, but like sometimes you're like, I don't need to think about that, everything's good. And like I feel like the shroom part of it, the Zoom part of it, gives you this kind of like contemplation around it, which is really, really beneficial. And it has these fun visuals. And then one of the things that can happen with shrooms, like if you just take shrooms, is I sometimes joke that like sometimes there's like a dose of shrooms where you get what I call, like I just say you get weird, like where you feel somewhat self-conscious, and you feel, and this can be a very good thing. You can feel self-conscious, and it makes you start to think about like your discomfort and where you need to grow and what you need to think about. Like what do I need to fix in myself, and what do I need to heal, and what do I need to work on? And so it can be rough sometimes when you take a dose of Zoom or shrooms that gets you to this, what I call the weird space, where you have to kind of like figure out what you're doing with it.
Yeah.
And I feel like when you mix the Molly with it, you get to go, hey, I can be self-conscious and weird and feel a lot of strange things, but everything's okay. And like that, the Molly kind of comes in with this, like, everything's okay, bro. Like everything's good. and the shrooms are like, everything's interesting and weird. And it's like, everything's okay and interesting and weird. And so I feel like it really gives you this way to kind of process both things simultaneously. And that is a very like reasonable, like non-transcendent dose. I have also mixed, like taking a transcendent amount, taking 6 or 7 tablets worth of Metocin with PLUR, with 5-MeO-BB, and when you put those two together, like you definitely go into a much deeper space that can be very that I wouldn't recommend for beginners, so to speak.
Okay. Yeah, I love that you have the liquid, what do I want to call it? The soft gels. For the PLUR, it's the cuddle puddle pack.
Yes.
And then for the Zoom, it's the ceremony pack. Yeah.
Yeah, we so because that's the thing is what we do is just so your listeners know is like we sell these products, like so Zoom is sold, there's a 4-pack that's like a nice like amount for like a concert or like a party or something, and then we also sell a 10-pack, so that's like 10 tablets in a jar, and that's really more than one dose. That's a dose and a half basically. I mean, some people go all the way, but they don't need to, but it allows you to, like, the 10-pack jar is the equivalent of 5 grams of shrooms, and it allows you to titrate your dose. You can say, I want to take 7 of them and go into transcendental space, or I could break them into quarters and I could microdose them every day for a month. And then we also sell what we call the Transcend soft gel, and the Transcend soft gel is the equivalent of 7 tablets in one single dose. So like you take that, you swallow that, and you go into a transcendental space. And so then what we did is we decided to release, the first thing we did is, it was before Burning Man last year, we released a community pack, which was 100 of our tablets. So each tablet is roughly equivalent to 0.5 gram of shrooms. And we released 100 tablets, and we called it a community pack, because some people were like, I want to buy this, but I don't want all this extra packaging. I want to buy a lot of it, and I want to share it with my friends and family. I want to share it with my Burning Man crew. I want to share it, at a party or festival or a concert or whatever.
Yeah.
And so we made the community pack, and then people said, hey, this transcendent dose, I want to have a party where everyone's going to do a transcendent dose. And so we were like, well, we call it a community pack of Transcend. And we were like, no, we're going to call it a ceremony pack, because we want to give it the respect that it deserves.
Yep.
It's something where like, it is a really deep, it is going to be a deep, like, it's a ritual. Like, I just felt ritual was a little bit too culty. So ceremony felt a little bit better with that. So we decided on ceremony as the term, and then cut. So those are the two ones for Zoom products. And then on the PLUR side, basically we have our soft gels, which are 25 milligrams, which allow you to, if you want to take a small dose of Molly, if you want to take like 75 milligrams, or if you want to take, 6, if you want to take 6 pills, it's like 150 milligrams. You can decide how you want to dose. And so we made, and then we also have our immersed soft gels, which is literally 100 milligrams in a single soft gel. And so what we did is we have our Cuddle Puddle pack and our Festival pack. So our Cuddle Puddle pack is 10 immersed soft gels so that like you can have 10 people and they can all take it and all have a good time. Or the Festival pack is 50 booster soft gels. So you can say, hey, let's all take, 3 to 4 or 5 or 6 of these. And you can easily you can get again, around 10 friends or so to be able to have that experience. And all together. So we came up with playful names for them, like the Festival pack, the Cuddle Puddle pack, the Ceremony pack, and the Community pack. We've had we've had a lot of fun naming these things.
Oh yeah. The marketing is fantastic. And if our listeners go to zoomtrip.com, they'll see that there is a sale going on currently, for some of the products. Selected products have, 25% off. So it is now the time to try this out. If you've found this conversation interesting, you've been thinking about this for a while, you've wanted to experiment a little bit, you've wanted to kind of do a self-dive, this is the time to do it. And again, folks, go to Zoomtrip, XUM, trip.com. Well, thank you so much, Avens, and I hope we get to hear more from you later on in the near future. And maybe when we get everything set up in Nashville, we can have you all come out and visit us for a little bit.
That'd be very fun. No, we love sharing, these products. We have more things in the horizon. And I think, for people who are interested in exploring Zoom, exploring, the benefits of shrooms, the benefits of MDMA, these are a way to do so legally. This is not neither of these are federally scheduled compounds. So people can check them out and they can explore them. And they're safe. We give test results so you know what you're consuming. And you can look at the contraindications if you have other medications you're on or something, and you just want to make sure that they're safe. And that's for us. It's we want to make an informed populace, and we want to show people that these things do not have to be scary. They can be beautiful and they can be incredible, but you have to get them from good sources. You have to test them. You have to know what you're getting. And we're doing our best to try to have a fully informed populace so that you can because your body and your mind are your own, and you have every right to make whatever choices you want with them. And the hard thing about drug laws is besides the fact that they criminalize, peaceful activity, is that when these things are illegal, people can't be explicitly clear about them. They mix them with things. They might taint them with things. You don't know. Maybe they're fine, but you don't know. And this right here is about safety. It's about your peace of mind, your security as a person. And so, that's what we're trying to do. We love that. I'm so glad that you wanted to learn about it and tell your audience about it. But we're happy to keep doing this. Zoomtrip.com. We're gonna keep pushing the limits and the boundaries to show people that these are meaningful experiences and they deserve to be more accessible, and we'll do everything we can to do that. And
I just want my audience to know it does not break the bank either. Their starter pack is it's about $20. Yeah, so a cup of coffee in Seattle. Anyway.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. We really wanted to make this accessible. This is very comparable to street prices for similar drugs, to be perfectly honest. It might be slightly more because we're testing it and we're doing all these other things, but the fact is for $20 to $30, you are getting yourself a dose. You're getting yourself a proper dose of something to try. And you're not
getting it from a sketchy guy named Chud. Yeah.
Exactly. We're very proud of our packaging. It's very we have little they're almost in these little jewel cases with with magnets that hold them together. We didn't want to have packaging that was overly cartoony or overly we didn't want to appeal to children. We wanted it to be this is just something that this is for you to enjoy. This is for you to share with your friends. It's not embarrassing. It's not awkward. It's not it's not going to be some weird a bunch of tripped out Alice in Wonderland graphics or whatever. It's going to be you're melting whatever. This is here to be a professional beautiful experience that people can enjoy.
It's a big happy
that's what we're
face.
here to do. Yeah, with a smiley face to show you that it's approachable, it's accessible, and it's nothing to fear. And that's really what I want to show people. It's nothing to fear.
Turn it dial like a flame. Hear the morning crack. Voices clear, unafraid. Never looking back. Podcast in the kitchen. Radio in the car. Videos on the rooftop. Truth streaming from afar. Yeah. Blogs that ask the questions. Newsletters that land like keys. Doors open to reason. Minds moving like free seas. And no chains on the conversation. Just ideas that roam. We expect for every pathway. Every voice finds home. Liberty Crack Media. Sing it loud and proud. Liberty Crack Media. Freedom gathers crowd. Liberty Crack Media. Independent and unbound. Liberty Crack Media. Where common ground is found. Market minds exchanging. Honest trade in the light. Capital and conscience dancing through the night. Exercise your freedom. Choose your course with care. No judgment is a chorus. Only truth that we share. From the small town morning to the city lights that glow. We broadcast independence. Let the open markets grow. Liberty Crack Media. Sing it loud and proud. Liberty Crack Media. Freedom gathers crowd. Liberty Crack Media. Independent and unbound. Liberty Crack Media. Where common ground is found. When the world gets louder, we keep the signal strong. A compass for the thinking, a place to right the wrong. We build with words and stories, with arguments and grace, a meeting of the many, every creed and every faith. Just the mic and open mind. Just a heart and steady hand. Podcast, radio, and videos are free and fight online. Liberty Crack Media. Sing it loud and proud. Liberty Crack Media. Freedom gathers crowd. Liberty Crack Media. Independent and unbound. Liberty Crack Media. Where common ground is found. Turn the dial. Like a flame. Keep the conversation bright. Liberty Crack. Forever. Keep the future in your sight.